everyone. Good evening. Happy Thursday. We are almost at the end of the week. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy you guys are joining me tonight for this amazing topic and conversation. So just welcome. Welcome to Tell Me How You Really Feel with Lailah Rose. Tonight is unfiltered. Tonight is unfiltered. So we're going to talk about our topic for tonight, which is my dream catcher. You'll see a post pinned at the top that gives you a little bit of housekeeping rules, but it also provides all the links of the things that I'll be talking about tonight. So make sure you check that out. But again, tonight we're talking all about dreams. This conversation is about my dream catcher. We'll talk about what that is. We'll talk about different types of dreams. We'll even maybe get into some interpretations. We shall see, see where the night takes us. But I'm just so happy to be here. I'm happy to those who are able to join. If you are already in here, please go ahead and click that share button. I'm about to do it right now. Y'all know I love to make sure. I don't even know what my little phone is. Anyway, it's okay. Share this for me, y'all. Share it on your page. Share it so your friends can share it. This is going to be a good conversation. We are going to get into it all tonight. So make sure you're in the comments. Make sure you're sharing. Make sure you're engaged. Make sure we're talking back and forth. This is a conversation. I'm trying, to grow with you. Let's grow together. And with that attitude, we can accomplish anything. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and check here just for any welcome comments. I like to see who's in here. So let's see here. One moment. Doesn't look like we have any comments just yet. But like I said, this is going to be free flowing. It's no plan, no agenda. We are just going to have a good conversation about this wonderful topic. All of us dream. All of us. Sometimes we remember them, sometimes we don't. Another thing about dreams is you want to always remember that dreams aren't always things we only do at night. You can daydream, you can, dream of your future, you can, dreams come in all different forms. So we're going to get specific about that tonight. But the reason we are here, the reason I am so happy, to be talking about this topic is because if you have not already heard, your girl is now self-published. I have self-published my first journal. Now, this is the My Dream Catcher Journal. I don't know if you guys can see that. Of course, across the top, this is my proof. That won't be on your copy if you decide to order one. But this is, a labor of the heart. I have always been fascinated, about dreams, but just like everybody, especially when it comes to dreams that we have at night, a lot of times we don't always remember them. A lot of times, as the day progresses or time moves forward, we lose the details of some of those, interesting dreams we may have. And sometimes maybe not so interesting. It could be just as simple as, you seeing someone you recognize or someone you know from your past or current in a dream. That's what this journal is for. This journal is to capture those dreams, so that we can kind of connect the dots. A lot of times people believe, that their dreams could be sending them a message or, telling them something. But what happens when you start losing those details? What happens when you're having recurring dreams, which we'll talk about that later? What happens if you had some place to document, those dreams so that when you refer to it later, you may be able to put some pieces together about what you've been dreaming about and what it could possibly mean for you, and this is something, you can take it or leave it with a grain of salt. People may believe that dreams are messages. Some people don't. Some people think dreams are dreams and that's just what it is. And some people wholeheartedly believe that their dreams are trying to tell them something or show them something or even a decision to make or a choice in the future. So wherever you fit in, you are welcomed right here on Tell Me How You Really Feel with Lailah Rose. And I would love to hear your thoughts on dreams. I would love to, understand your perspective as far as what dreams mean to you. I would also love to just engage with you. If you have had some interesting dreams or you are curious about something you dreamed about, pop it in the comments. I'm going to try to follow those throughout our conversation. And I have a book here that I got a couple of years ago on a trip me and my husband took to Charleston. And we popped into one of those little shops. I don't know if you've ever been in downtown Charleston, but they have all these wonderful shops with all this, decor and crystals and all this, wellness and healing and all of those type of things. That culture of people, a lot of Geechee people, they are very well versed in, things when it comes to, spirituality and, wholeness and wellness and, trying to be our best selves. So I picked up this book, and at the time I didn't, know why, just because I was simply interested in dreams. But this book here, like I said, I got it in Charleston. I don't know, you may be able to find it on Amazon. It's called 1200 Dreams Interpreted. But I use this book along with a lot of other resources that I have, which some I have included, in my journal when it comes to interpretation or defining different types of dreams. I am not a licensed dream interpreter. I do not pretend to know all the ins and outs of dreams. It is just something that I believe that is important that we pay attention to. If all of us do it, I mean, why aren't we talking about it? Why aren't we talking about what those things could mean for us in the future? So, yeah, like I said, please hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on the topic, and we're going to see. Hi, Mom. And I looks like I have a few more comments. Let me scroll. These things come in slow. Hi, Monique. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It looks like you have a comment here. That's what I do now, writing down dreams. I would love a journal specifically for my dreams. When will your books be available? Oh, no problem. You didn't miss it. It's right there at the top. Should be pinned to this post. If not, I'm going to post a link in here after the show again. But it is available right now on Amazon. If you search My Dream Catcher, a dream journal, my journal will pop up for you. And I would love, love, love for you to have it. And tell me if it works for you. I would love your honest feedback. Write a review. If there's anything you think I could do differently, anything you will want added in the next edition, I would love to hear your thoughts. So please bring on the feedback, the honest feedback, so I can grow, we can grow, and I can provide something that can help us all. So let's talk about the Dreamcatcher Journal before we get into all that other stuff, since you asked that wonderful question, Monique, and again, welcome. So to start my Dreamcatcher Journal, when I first started putting this together, I wanted to put it together with positive vibes, good intentions, and I wanted it to be something that is functional, in my life and yours as well. It just wasn't something that I put together haphazard. I just wanted something to document my dreams, and I felt like it's something that we all could benefit from. And the first thing I did after, I jotted down my ideas, I had a rough sketch, is I wrote a poem that I wanted to dedicate to everyone who, supports this cause, supports, what I'm trying to do here, supports, the dreams. Everybody has them, so let's talk about it, But I want to recite my poem for you here today. And let me know what you think. Let me know if it helped you, if you want me to, include poems in the next edition. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for you now. So the poem is called A Rose's Dream. And here it goes. So this is home. It's dark and cold. I'll just rest my eyes and dream of growing old. The warmth on my face from the sun shining high, stretching wide, reaching high, as things buzz by. Clouds roll in. Now I'm wet and cold, but as they part, I feel I have grown. Reaching higher, stretching wider, to feel the warmth in my soul. Then I open my eyes. Sadly, it's still dark and cold. But I remember my dream, hoping for it to come true. Excitedly I burst, moving dirt and pushing through, feeling the warmth on my skin as I move towards the light, knowing in my darkest days, hopes are dreams that take flight. So that's my poem I dedicate to each of you. So sometimes when you feel buried, sometimes when you feel like the world is just crushing you down, sometimes you're planted. Sometimes you just have to, wait it out, dream those dreams. And when it's time for you to execute, when it's time for you to push that dirt, when it's time for you to push through and reach high and stretch wide to that beautiful sky, there is no ceiling. That's why dreams are so important. Hopes are so important. Hopes are dreams that take flight. So I am passionate about my dreams. And I feel like we all should be passionate, about our dreams, So that's that. But yeah, I hope you like the poem. And hopefully, more to come. When I get the writing bug sometimes, it it just happens. So let's see here. Oh, thanks, Cassandra. Thank you so much. Snap, snap. Yes. Thanks, Mom. Ma Sharon. Hey, Ma Sharon. Love you. All right. So yeah. So that is the first page that will greet you when you open the My Dream Catcher journal. So yeah. Let me take a little sip of my juice. So, let me just talk a little bit about not just my journal, but some of the other stuff that I've got going on right now. I know you see these popping glasses and this cute little cup. Yes, Black Girl Magic. Boom. Looks like me, doesn't it? Cute. Anyway, I got this cup and these glasses from a Black-owned business here in North Carolina called Happy Cat Candles. Somebody tag them below. They carry all kind of small business owners, crafts and t-shirts and candles and even food. They're here at North Lake Mall. And if you get an opportunity, stop by, check them out, support small business, support Black-owned businesses, all that good stuff. Every time I'm in the mall, I have to stop in there, and I find all kind of cute little finds. So, like I said, these glasses and this cup, yes. I don't know who the actual seller is, but at each station, there should be business cards, and if you get the opportunity, show some support. The other thing I wanted to mention to you guys today is, as you can see, I have on my t-shirt that I designed personally. You can find it on LailahRoseLive.com if you just click shop merch. This is a real, I don't even know the word. Like, this shirt it came to me in kind of a vision. And I just decided to go ahead and, put it together, and hopefully you guys like it. The concept is fly, a fly mission. First, love yourself. Fly. And I have the phoenix here because the phoenix rises from the ashes. So when you think, things are, getting hard, when you think, it's over, when you think you've hit rock bottom, just fly. The first stop should be first loving yourself. When you love yourself and you're pouring into yourself, you have more fuel to pour into other people. So that's the mission I'm on. That's what I'm trying to do, and I hope you guys support it. Like I said, you can find this shirt on LailahRoseLive.com along with other stuff, my podcast, other merch, my blog, which I'll be getting back to, guys. I'm going to get back to blogging. Things have been crazy, lately. Some of my people know I broke my hand here recently. It's getting better. It's still a little interesting, but it's getting better. So I'm just trying to take it easy and take care of myself. So, and I hope you guys are too. But back to the journal, which is why we're here tonight. So, My Dream Catcher, a dream journal. And let me see, before we hop back in there, let me get back to some of the comments here. Thank you, Mo. Hi, host. Hi, Mr. Hood. That's my babe. He has been so supportive. He's seen my labor of work, and I appreciate all of his dedication, all of his encouragement. So shout out, to all of the good husbands out there who are helping us, with our businesses as Black women. Sometimes we have, a hard time out here in these entrepreneurial streets. And having a partner that, supports what you do and adds value to what you do is priceless. So thank you. But anywho, like I said, back to my dream catcher. So a few other features in here. Um, Right here I have, a little bit of instructions, and you'll see it when you get yours, of actually how to use the journal. First things first, and I'll just go through a couple of these things briefly. You want to write down your dreams as soon as you get the opportunity, whether you put it on your bedside table, on your nightstand, and you journal in the morning, because that's when the details are the freshest. Like I said earlier, as time goes on, those details fade. But when you are writing, in a journal, and with journaling as in general, there's no wrong or right way to do it. If you only can remember a man in a red shirt, write that down. If you have a vivid dream and you can remember all the details, just write down everything you can remember. Even just write down, if you don't have time to do a full journal entry, you can also just write down, key points or keywords to kind of jog your memory later, because sometimes it just takes a little keyword or something that happens, a smell, or just any detail, put that down when you're journaling, not just in my dream journal, but any journal, that you get out there. Sometimes it just takes one word for the memories to come flooding back. So that's that. And we talked about the details that you should include, taste, smell. Sometimes people have dreams as vivid as that. Sometimes this is unfiltered. Some people have even said they've had, intimate encounters and some sex and stuff in dreams. So, I don't know. I don't know why I screamed, but I did. And this is live and it's okay. But, hey, if you got questions about it, I might have an interpretation for you. So, like I said, this is unfiltered. So, it is what it is. Dreams can come in many shapes and forms and with many details and different topics and all kind of stuff. This thing, like this book has 1,200, I'm sorry, not 1,200, 12,000 dreams interpreted. So, somebody out there dreaming. But anyway, anywho, is this journal, only for sleeping dreams? No, absolutely not. This journal is for daydreaming, hopes and dreams, and all kind of good stuff. So, speaking of that, the different dream types, and I'm not going to read all of these verbatim because I do want you to go get my journal on Amazon. But just some types of dreams that we have. Our normal standard dreams. They're just your average everyday dream. You dream. Sometimes you can remember them. Sometimes you can't. They're usually typically come, at nighttime. And most dreams actually happen during your REM sleep. So if you want more information about, your sleep cycles and things like that, definitely look more into that. Google is your friend. But most dreams do happen in REM sleep. So that's just your normal everyday dream. Nothing. It can be in color. It can be in black and white. It can become a variety of ways. I'm sure you've had multiple types of dreams in your life. The other dream I want to talk about is visitation dreams. Now, those visitations are common, and in them, you're talking with someone who could possibly be deceased or someone who may be missing or something like that, to that effect. Those are like visitation dreams, pretty self-explanatory. And then you have lucid dreams. Now, lucid dreams is probably one you may have heard of, but might not be certain what it really means. So, lucid dreams are when you are fully aware that you are dreaming during them and you are in complete control of the dream. Now, lucid dreaming is something that is pretty hard to do and it takes practice. I don't know the entire practice of lucid dreaming, but I can say I believe I've had a lucid dream, and I feel like the way I would look at that is lucid dreaming can sometimes be when, for example, I had a dream last night and I knew I was dreaming. that's kind of how I feel like lucid dreaming may work. It's like when you know that you're dreaming, and sometimes you can wake yourself up from the dream, and sometimes, you can't, but you are fully aware, that you're dreaming. So that's a good way to kind of put lucid dreaming. And then we have like hope and wish dreaming, the dreams that we wish for our future. The things that we may believe that could possibly be out of our reach, but sometimes they aren't. We have hopes and dreams for our future, our children, our business, finances, spiritual, all types, of hopes and wishes and things like that. So that's kind of what that dream is. And then recurring dreams. I'm sure many of us have had those, like the same dream over and over and over again. I had a dream recently where, and it just kept happening. Recently it stopped though. I was just walking on the street towards the light, and it wasn't like I was deceased or anything. It was just like I was walking on a dark road. It had street lights, and every now and then somebody would pass by. And for a while I had that dream. So I did some research on it. I'm not going to go into all of that, and I may look it up in here so I can give you guys what I found about it. So we'll see a little later, see if we have time. And the last couple are nightmares and daydreams, which I believe I don't really need to, go into defining those. Daydreams are when you kind of wander off, and you kind of dreaming, and you may not hear what's going on because you kind of, focused or, in tunnel vision into whatever it is you're daydreaming about. And nightmares, of course, are the ones that, can possibly wake us up from our sleep, or we wake up, afraid, or we were scared, or there was chaos, in our dreams. And those sometimes, happen when we're under stress, or we have anxiety going on, or there's something troubling us. That's a lot of times nightmares present themselves when you are under some type of stress in your life. Not always, but frequently. So those are some of the dream types. So let me know what you guys think about. If you have any questions about those, I would love to go further into detail. So let's see here. What's up, bro? Hey, Malcolm. Hey, Cuzzo, Princess M, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. Let me see here. When the flower, Lord, I can't see. When the flower wilts, you don't change the flower. You change the environment in which it grows. Oh, thank you so much, cuz that's beautiful. Thank you for that comment. I appreciate it. So yeah, guys. So yeah, keep it coming. Do you guys have any questions about dream types? Like I said, I don't want to give it all away because I definitely want you to get your journal and kind of read through some of the details, for yourself. It's a lot of details, but I wasn't going to read that to you verbatim. But that does lead me to the first page that you would write on in the journal. So the first page here says, "Last night I dreamt." Now, I know I said that you don't have all of your dreams on at night and while you're sleeping, but I did want to include a page for last night that I dreamt, so that you would have something to kind of prompt you when you have the opportunity to write your dream down, the next day or the next morning or whatever. But on the next page, I have another blank page, and this one says, "Today I hope for." And those are like those wish dreams, those things that you would like to happen in your future, changes you would like to make. So I have a space for you to document that as well, something you can refer to, and like I said, it doesn't have to be a paragraph. It can just be some keywords, just something to kind of remind you, this is for you. This is a book for your personal use. This isn't something you're going to share, with anybody unless you choose to. So, like I said, there is no right or wrong way to journal in any capacity. So as I stated, your first page is "Last night I dreamt," and then your next page is "Today I hope for." And it continues like that for a while, and then there are 3 sections that I have in the journal that are considered self-check-ins. And what this self-check-in does is it asks you some questions, just kind of for you to kind of refer back to what you've been writing. Excuse me. Drop my book, to refer back to what you've been writing. Like one of the questions may be, what hopes or dreams have manifested in your life? And this will prompt you to go back to some of those "Today I Hope For" pages and see, what things have come to pass, or have you made any steps forward to kind of make those things manifest? Because, faith without works is dead. That's not just for the Bible, that's for real life. You have to put in the work sometimes to make your dreams and wishes and hopes come true. So we have questions like that, and let's see what else. Do What new hopes and dreams do you have? Going forward. Questions like, what's your favorite dream? So there's some self check-ins here for you to kind of fill that out, just to kind of keep track of where you are. And one of the other things I wanted to show you guys before I close out of here is on one of the last pages, along with my information, there is also, oops, I'm sorry, here we go. Get that on the camera right. Where are we? Here we go. This page here in the back is actually 10 common dream interpretations. There's a couple of common ones you've probably heard of, falling, your teeth falling out, things like that. So let's just talk about falling. I'll read that one to you. If you've ever dreamt of falling, this dream is sometimes considered a red flag from your subconscious. Dreams of falling are common in people who are having major life problems with work, relationships, or elsewhere. So if you've had dreams of falling, that could be your subconscious raising a red flag to say, hey, look at the things going around you in your life and see what changes and choices you can make to, make a difference and, make that better. Like I said, this is possibly for entertainment purposes only. I don't want to say that all of this is factual and all of that. This is, interpretations. People have taken time to consolidate information. There's scientific factors that you can research on your own time. As far as dreams, there's lots of information out there about dreaming, but, in its simplest form, what do they mean? So I have I have the 10 common interpretations in here. So like I said, this is available now on Amazon.com. The link is tagged below, so please go check it out. I feel so blessed, that I have finally, gotten this out of my system, and there's more to come. I'm going to do different editions, and, there'll be some different prompts and other things like that to guide us on our journaling journey. So hopefully you guys support it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Like I said, please give me some feedback. If there's anything different you will want in it. This will also be available in hardback. So not just paperback. It'll be available in hardback too. So check it out. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to a side because like I said, I don't want to give it all away. So please take a look. Let me know what you think. But back to dreams. So, dreams, let's see here. Oh, actually, let me check some comments. Looks like I had a few things come through here. Let me see. One moment. I told you this thing acts so funny. Oh, thanks, Monique. Thanks for the congratulations. I appreciate it. And y'all don't forget to share this, and you can watch it from the beginning, on the playback. But let's get into some dream interpretations. I'm gonna wait a few minutes. I'm gonna sip some drink, and if you just want to put a word, it doesn't have to be a whole blown out, paragraph of your dream. But if you would like to say, hey, I dreamt about horses, or I dreamt about, I don't know, a celebrity, or whatever the case may be. If you want to plug those into the comment section, I'll read some interpretations from this book and let you know some of my personal thoughts, and maybe connect some of those dots, for us both. So what was my dream I talked about? Let me look that up. My dream was I was walking down a dark street. So let me see if I can find that interpretation while you guys plug in. Let's see. Okay. All right. So there's two different interpretations in here. One for walking through entangled paths. Well, actually, there's three. I apologize. One for walking through entangled paths. One for walking through pleasant places. And there's also a interpretation for walking in the night, which is what I was experiencing. So walking in the night sometimes means that there's unveiling struggle for contentment, and it also references me to what waiting is. It means that, let's see here, I may partake in exquisite joys. That's something, huh? So, yeah. So basically, just, I just need to watch my step, I guess. And you know me, I'm clumsy. Seems like every other month I got a new injury. Not all my fault. So, come on. But maybe I just need to watch my steps. So that's what I take from that, is that if I'm not careful, I may meet some misadventure. Doesn't mean that it could be terrible. Could be just a little stumbling block in the road. So I'm not going to take that, too hard and be worried. Just a little something to think about. So, yeah. All right. Let's see if we got any comments here. All right. One moment. Hold on. Why does this thing act like this? I really hate it. Let's see. Riding on a train. All right. Thanks, Cassandra. Let's see here what riding on a train signifies. Okay. I haven't heard that one before. Hadn't had the opportunity to look that up, so that'll be new to me too. Let's see. All right. So to be riding on a train would be considered swift riding, and sometimes it means prosperity under hazardous conditions. So sometimes, in my opinion, what I think that means is all paths aren't easy. Sometimes what you are, seeking, sometimes what you are working on, sometimes the goals and dreams that you have, they may not be, accomplished easily. But I think there's learning opportunities, anytime that we have to, sometimes struggle, to reach our whatever it is on our journey. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. Any more? Come on, y'all. All right. And tell me what you think about that. Oh, thanks, Charmaine. Thanks for the congrats. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're enjoying yourself. All right. Let's see here, Lynn. I see you have a comment here. If it would stop jumping, I could read it. All right. My last dream was about my brother coming to my house, but my house was our childhood home. All right, so let's see here. Let's take a look. All right. And sometimes I can combine these, so it could be a combination of dreaming about a sibling or your brother, and also dreaming about your childhood home. So it could be a combination of the two. So let's see how that looks for you. All right. So there is an entry here for brother. So Lynn, here's what this says. To dream of seeing your brother full of energy means that you will rejoice at your own or their good fortune. But if they are poor and in distress or begging for assistance, you will be called to assist them with some loss or something that is overwhelming them. So that's that for brother. And then let's see what it says about your home. All right. Here we go. To dream of visiting your old this is a good one. I love this one. To dream of visiting your old home suggests that you will have good news to rejoice over soon. So, all right. So that kind of goes hand in hand. So hopefully, there's something there that means something to you, and you can connect the dots, for that dream. Or maybe, you have your own interpretation. So if anybody would like to, tell me what you think that means, or help Lynn with her possible, dream interpretation, drop it in here. I'm not to say I'm not the expert, and I don't know it all. Just like Princess M says, she does more spiritual interpretations of what the Holy Spirit drops in her spirit. But it's really cool to see what others think. So yeah, let us know what you think. All right, let's see here. Wow, yes, and Lynn said, yay, he was very upbeat and silly in the dream too. So, hey, all the good fortune, all the good wishes, all the good dreams, all the good things that manifest for both you and your brother, I wish for and I pray for you. So, all right. And Cassandra, she said, yes, that interpretation was in line with some of the results of my own research. Of course, that was a snippet of the dream, but your interpretation was on point. Thanks, thanks, thanks. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Anybody else? Anybody else? Like I said, it doesn't have to, be detail for detail, but if it's just something that stood out, tell me. Tell me how you really feel. And I'll tell you what I find in this here book. So, all right, let me get a sip of my drink. All right. So, also, one more thing about the Dream Journal. It is Prime, so if you got Prime, free shipping. Everybody loves Prime. I hate paying shipping, so I'm sorry that some of my other things require shipping, but this here Dream Journal does not. So, yeah. All right. So let's see here. Anybody else? Anybody else with any dreams they want to talk about today? Loading bags in an old car. Let's see here. That's from Monique. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Oops. Dropped my fan. That's all right. It's in alphabetical order, so, I got to scroll to it. All right. And while I'm looking this stuff up, y'all, please tell me how you really feel. All right. All right. To dream that you are carrying a load, which could be groceries, it could be wood, it could be anything. It has a couple of different examples of things that you're carrying. If you're carrying a load, signifies long life filled with labors of love and charity. That's beautiful. I love that. And let's see about the old car. Let's see about the old car. Here we go. I'm going to see if it's under old car, and if it's not, I'm just going to go to car. All right. No old car, but let's go to car and see what they say. All right. Okay. Let's see here. Just want to see if there's one here that kind of applies to what you were saying, because it comes in different things. Like there's stuff like dreaming of going on a journey, dreaming of sleeping in a car or train. But just to see cars in your dream, or to see yourself in a car, warns that some person is actively interested in causing you trouble. So, not sure exactly what that means. Like I said, it could be, like for mine, it could be just hey, watch your back, watch your front, watch, the people around you, so that you can be, in front of it. A lot of our dreams could be warnings. They could be trying to prevent us from something that, bad that may happen. Now, I'm not saying that's always the case, but have you ever had a dream or ever felt like, you had an intuition, not to do something or not to turn this way, or you actually had a dream that warned you about something that may have come to pass? So, like I said, sometimes it's not always good news, but it could be a warning, which if you have a warning, you can be proactive, in preventing whatever that is from happening. So let's see here. Any more comments? All right, I'm loving this. Loving this. Thank you guys so much for all the engagement. And I am just scrolling. And we will see here. All right. Okay, looks like I don't have any more comments here, but I'll stay on for a little while longer, and talk some more about some of my dreams. So I have had, for the majority of my life, and my mom can confirm this, I've always been a dreamer. And not a dreamer in the sense of, head in the clouds dreamer, but I've always had vivid dreams. I've always had dreams that I remember lots of detail. Some of those dreams are in color. Some of those dreams, are black and white. But what I will say is, as far as nightmares or even dreams that where you are in danger or in trouble, that's something that I'm unfortunately very familiar with. Not sure why, but there was a period of time, where all I was having was dreams filled with chaos and, turmoil. I remember one time I dreamed I was in a tornado. One time I dreamed I was in a war zone. I've had all types of dreams where someone was chasing me and, stuff like that. And I'll look up some of those here as well. But one thing that was a common thread during that period of time when I was having, those dreams that were sometimes troubling and filled with chaos is that I wasn't settled in my spirit either. It was a time where either there was something going on with my job or, there was something going on, just in the environment around me where I just may have not felt, at peace. And as, the journal, indicates when it defines the different types of dreams, a lot of times, your dreams can happen, if you're distressed. Even if you're happy, sometimes those dreams just manifest if there's something going on back there in your subconscious, and something I always mention anytime, I go live and I do, these shows and these podcasts, is self-awareness. You have to be aware of the people, places, and things, that you keep around you. Because a lot of times those things can kind of seep into your spirit and they can affect your sleep. Trust me, if you're dreaming of chaos, you're probably not sleeping well. And I wasn't at that time, not saying that's 100%, the case, but sometimes you just have to put two and two together, and that's what I hope, this journal does, for us, is that we can keep track, of what's going on in our subconscious and in our sleep, and maybe we can string that thread together, and maybe we can connect those dots and start to implement some proactive behaviors to, change, what we're feeling, what we're doing, and how that's transferring, into our spirit and into our dreams and into our heads while we sleep, so just my little spiel on that, so I'm just going to check the comments real quick, and then I'm going to talk about some of those dreams that I have had. Let's see here. Oh, we got a couple comments came in. All right. Hey, Mama Sharon. She said that she usually has a recurring dream. She usually has recurring dreams. The one I usually have is more like a vision of one of the last conversations I had with my mom in the kitchen. I often wonder why it comes to me so vivid. Okay, so that's first of all, it's beautiful, that you even get the opportunity to have, that dream and that memory, with your mom, and that it is that vivid. Everybody doesn't, get that opportunity, so I think that's a blessing, in itself. But as far as visions of conversations or let's see here. Parents who have gone on. Let's see if there's anything to be said about that. Let's see. And I'm just looking here at some of the comments that are rolling in. Thank you guys so much for being so engaged. Let's see here. I'm sorry, y'all. It's a whole lot of pages. It's over 1,200 dreams in here. Okay. Let me look here. Like I said, I look under a couple of different things to, kind of piece some of these dreams together. So just give me a second and be patient with me. One moment. A lot of pages. Here we go. All right. Let's see here. So, the fact that it's recurring is interesting. And I think that just could be some of your thoughts from your subconscious. But this here states that if you see your parents while they are living and they are in your home or their home happy, The dream foretells pleasant changes for you. So I would say just lean into that. First of all, it's a blessing that you're having that dream, and secondly, based on this interpretation here, you know there could be pleasant changes coming. And hopefully there's always pleasant changes coming from you for you, mom, because I wish nothing but the best for you. But let's see here. All right. Let's see. And it looks like we had some comments coming in while I was looking at that, so I'm going to make sure I'll capture them. So Lynn, let's see here. It says that intuition is something else. I'm learning to follow my first mind on things. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Mo says that I think dreams are the subconscious talking to the conscious. Ugh. I completely agree with that. I think that if we can connect those two men, where would we be? And hey, Princess, let's see. Usually, when you dream of any type of transportation, it means you're going somewhere. When I saw the train comment, you don't have control, but it's taking you to your destination. It might be at one of the stops, but you don't know when to stop because you're not in control. Doesn't mean a bad thing. It could be completely wrong. Yeah, well, hey, like I said, I'm interested in hearing all these comments, so please keep them coming, and people take from them what they will. I haven't remembered a dream in a while, but I tend to daydream a lot. And let me see specifically, I had a little bit of information in here about daydreams, and I just want to make sure I give it to you right. Daydream tends, let's see here. Yeah, daydreams can tend to occur when you sometimes, are lacking focus. And I mean, that might be kind of on the nose. But when there's something out there that you desire, more than what you're presently doing. So daydreaming pretty much happens usually, in those times. Or if you just have a lot going on or something that's very important to you, we tend to wander off and, focus on that. So nothing wrong with it as long as, you're not doing it and putting yourself in danger. So let's see here. All right. One moment. Let me see. Just want to make sure I have gotten everybody's comment, and like I said, sometimes some of these comments roll in really slow. So if I'm getting to them kind of late, forgive me. But I am definitely trying to keep track of them. Let's see. Oh, hey, I have another one here. Let's see, I've had several recurring dreams, none at the moment. Teeth falling out, being naked in public, and being chased by a gorilla. And my teeth falling out while being chased by a gorilla. Okay, we finna dive into that. So let's see here. Where do we start? Teeth falling out. And I actually have an interpretation here in the Dreamcatcher journal regarding teeth falling out. So, and I'll read that from here. Teeth falling out. This dream is supposedly a sign of something happening in the dreamer's life that has caused them to lose confidence. So that's typically the interpretation for your teeth falling out. Now, being naked in public. Let's see here. Do I have that one? Oh, yep, I actually do. It's in the Dreamcatcher. So, many agree that this dream represents vulnerability and anxiety. This dream is common to people who have received a promotion, accepted a new job, or who are coming into public view. So, if you are dreaming about, being naked in public, that could be the interpretation for that. Now, being chased by a gorilla. Let's see if we can see anything about gorillas in this here book, because I don't know nothing about no gorillas. Let's see. All right, gorilla. Oh, there is actually an interpretation for that, Cassandra. So, if a gorilla in your dream frightens you, you are being warned about a painful misunderstanding coming in a relationship. If the gorilla is calm and friendly, you will be making a new friend soon. So, hey, I don't know which one, if that will apply to you, but hey, I don't think either one of them are bad, because if it can help you be proactive and prevent some pain, hey, I'm all for it. So, all right, let's see here. What else we got? Oh, you've had the same dream that Cassandra's had as well? Okay. All right, Lynn. Let's see here. Looks like you have another comment here. I have a phobia about losing my teeth as a result of that dream. Oh, I think everybody has a phobia about losing their teeth. I've had that dream a couple of times, and it is frightening. Okay, it's like you're just spitting out teeth like they're chiclets, and it's just the weirdest thing. And you feel like you are really in that dream. It almost feels like a lucid dream, But maybe one of these interpretations, can help us not be so afraid of what that might mean. So the next time you have it, think about, the teeth falling out and what that means. And let's remind ourselves this dream, could be something that's caused you to lose confidence. So if that is something that is happening, it's something that you can be more self-aware about, something you can change, and something you can address. Your superpower is choice. So that's that. All right. So, okay, guys. Anything else? No new friends. See, that's an inside joke, y'all. That's an inside joke. So let's see if I have any more. One moment. Yes. Okay. I'm just looking here, y'all. I want to make sure that I don't miss what anybody says. I appreciate you guys so much, for joining me. So I want to make sure that we are engaged and, that I am able to possibly answer some of your questions. So, yeah. All right. What time is it? Oh, it is almost 10 o'clock, y'all. So I am going to, go ahead and wrap this thing on up. Let's see here. Was there any other dreams that I was talking about? I told you guys about, the tornado and chaos. I did want to read those to you. So, if you dream about, and we'll wrap it up because we almost closed in on 10 o'clock. So, hey, why not ride it on that a few more minutes? But as far as a tornado is concerned, I've had that dream a couple of times. And it is so scary. There's been a time where I was like inside the tornado, and then I've had dreams where I was in the house and like the tornado was like nearby causing destruction. So let's see here. Sorry. All right. Tornado. All right. If you dream that you are witnessing a tornado, expect profound change that will be beneficial to you. To be in a tornado is double good luck. Whoop, whoop. I receive it. Absolutely. So, okay, bring on the tornadoes. All right. Now, what else? I have dreamed of war. Those have, like I said, all bad dreams don't mean bad things. I mean, you can take it with a grain of salt, but I'm going to take it and put some positive energy into that thing so that I'm not afraid in my sleep. Maybe the next time those things happen, I'll be like, when I wake up the next morning, I'll be like, all right now, what's waiting for me? So let's see here. 1 second, y'all. War. All right, there's a lot here for war. All right, I have some lip, y'all. Let me take a little sip. Okay. So war. To dream of war foretells unfortunate conditions and much disorder and strife in certain affairs. So, could be being proactive, but it says to dream of victory in war, there will be a brisk activity along business lines and domestically will be harmonious. Now, I will say that in that dream that I had of war, we were running. It was me, and I recall some of my family members vaguely. Wish I had the journal then. But I do remember us escaping. I do. I'm not sure if we would call that a win. I mean, we survived, so I guess it would be. But so I'll take that. Like I said, these are loose interpretations that can just help us kind of be proactive, in our lives, and maybe help us understand some of the things that are happening in our sleep. And like I said, if you're able to keep track of it, that could be very helpful in kind of putting some of the pieces together about some of the things you've been dreaming about and why. So that's that on that. So one more time for the people in the back, I would really love for your support, and I would really love for you to utilize this wonderful journal. I believe that it will be beneficial to me. I believe that it will be beneficial to those of us who dream often, those of us who dream, every now and then. That, like I said, there's no right or wrong way to journal. Make it your own, and please, please, please share it. Please provide any feedback you may have. Please continue to follow all the things that I'm doing here on Tell Me How You Really Feel with Lailah Rose. Also on LailahRoseLive.com. More blog posts, more podcasts, more wonderful things to come. It's just a beautiful thing, and it makes me feel good that I have so many people who are interested in what I'm doing in the movement to help us become a more peaceful people, become better humans, and just grow together. So that can only help our environment and the people we impact daily. So with that being said, one more time, thank you so much for joining me. I hope I was able to give you some insight, into some of your dreams. I hope that, you take the opportunity to start documenting your dreams, whether it's in this journal or on your own. And also, like I said, there's lots of resources online. There's lots of books regarding dreams. Hey, do your own research. Seek to find your own understanding. Like I said, this is one of my favorite resources, but I use a few of them. And I'll post some of those as well if you want to look into it a little further. If you have other questions for me about dreams, if you want to talk to me offline about dreams, shoot me a DM. Or check me out, like I said, on LailahRoseLive.com. You can contact me there as well. And that's it. Thank you so much again for joining me. I hope you guys fly. First, love yourself. And I hope you guys rest well, dream beautifully. Check out LailahRose.com for my personal merch, and check out Amazon.com for the Dream Journal. Love you guys. Mean it. I hope you have wonderful and beautiful dreams tonight, and I hope that they help you in the days and the journeys to come.